Hi, hello everyone. We are on the X Day Latam with Ken Peterson. This is our annual event, and we are going to do a quick interview about the total experience, understanding the CX and EX with Ken Peterson. So, Ken, in your session, you talk about how many companies overlook the big picture when it comes to customer and employee experience. Let's dive deeper into how organizations can truly achieve that experience. So, how would you define total experience and why it's too critical for business today?
Well, total experience is thinking about every place that someone, not just customers, but someone interacts with your brand. And that could be a customer, it could be an employee, it could even be a competitor. Looking at what you're doing, how you're positioning it, and how you're winning or losing customers. And what's often overlooked, when we talk about customer experience by itself, realistically, we should be thinking about that as total experience. Unfortunately, it's sort of gotten compressed into, we want to survey customers. But the reality is, total experience should include your marketing, your advertising, your user experience, your employee experience, and your customer experience, all collectively, thinking about the entire flow of the customer and their process in interacting with your brand. Otherwise, you're working in these disconnected silos that sometimes don't interact. And that's probably the biggest danger of ignoring total experience, is that you're not listening to what the customers and stakeholders are saying.
Okay, so you think that the total experience, that it's important to include all the areas of the company to achieve a very great big picture, about how this is impacting the customer experience.
And when we talk about big picture, I come from a background of operations, and we call it systems thinking. Because you can't do something over here without it affecting something over here. So if you don't think about the whole system and how you might impact it, that really becomes a problem. If you have a customer experience program in place and you say, for the customers, we're going to create this new policy that anyone that complains is getting a coupon. Well, that makes the employees' lives difficult. And they don't realize it, because now these employees now have to fill out a form and send them a coupon, and so there's a lot of things that you have to think about both sides of the equation. And I'm simplifying it for just customer experience and employee experience in this case. But when you start adding things like market research and your advertising is the promise to the customer. And if that's not consistent with what you deliver to the customer, there's going to be a disconnect. So you have to think about all of them at the same time.
That's very interesting, because actually I think some kind of companies, or so many companies, think that you only need to focus on what is happening outside of the company, but not inside, and how this impact the experience of how the employee gives a good service to the final client, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so this get us to the next question. And what are the most common mistakes companies make when trying to improve CX and EX separately?
Well, when you're trying to improve them separately, you're not thinking about that whole system, essentially, that I talked about. And what often happens is they end up working separately again. If you have a policy you put in place, there's someone that has to execute that policy. And when you have employees that are unhappy, the customers are going to be unhappy no matter what you're doing. I mean,
that's right.
I've seen it over and over again. If you go to, one of my favorite threads to read is on Reddit. There's an anti-work thread, and it's all employees complaining about their jobs. But if you listen to them, and you get past the surface, what they're trying to say is, you're not enabling me to serve the customer better. And if you're not serving the customer better, it becomes this spiral that employees are unhappy, now customers are unhappy, customers express their unhappiness with those employees. Employees become more unhappy, and it just goes down and down.
It's like a círculo vicioso in Spanish, but in English it's like kind of a vicious cycle.
Yeah, the vicious cycle.
Vicious cycle. Yeah. Okay. And how can organizations move beyond automation and shortcuts to create mindful experiences?
I think it starts with emotion and empathy.
Okay.
And those are two things that companies usually don't think about. They think about revenue, they think about profit, they think about productivity. But if you want to get past this sort of cookie cutter approach, you have to listen to the customer. I was just talking to someone about our closed loop feedback system.
Okay.
And that for several years, we said you have to type out an email to the customer. And our customers kept coming back and saying, no, we should have a template.
Yeah.
And okay, we have the templates now, but my biggest argument against the template, it's like you're picking one of three, hey, we're sorry, this isn't working out. I remember a show where the guy wrote a letter to his congressman.
Yeah.
And the response he got back was, thank you. Your problem and global warming are our two biggest issues that we're tackling today. And it's like, you're not addressing the customer as a human, you're addressing them as just this,
like
a number, their template, their cookie cutter approach. And if you want to get beyond that, you need to personalize the experience. And customers expect a personalized experience.
Yeah.
Even if I go into a location, there's a Starbucks right around the corner here. If I go into that location, and I show my card, I almost expect they'll know who I am as a customer.
Yeah, that's right. Because I remind something because I was on car wash, and when I was there, I used Autovent for eating something or buying something to eat, and then I saw that the machine didn't work, so I answer a survey that it was on the Autovent, and then Bimbo, a big company,
I know them,
called me and say, hey, what's happening? Why you are not happy with the Autovent? And I answered that the Autovent, it didn't work because didn't accept a credit card, and I only have that payment.
Carries cash anymore.
And then they take care about my comment, and
they care. They care. You're a person and you want to know exactly.
And then they called me again a few days later and told me, hey, Emiliano, we solution this, and you can go to the Autovent and watch if we made it. And I go there, and actually they made it. So
wow, that's personal.
Yeah, that's personalization, and that's give me that increased my engagement with that company
and your loyalty, and and it costs them almost nothing.
Yeah, that's
they didn't give you a coupon. They didn't give you. It was just. Listen, we heard your problem. We fixed the problem.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's simple things that really care for the people.
Exactly.
Yeah, and for the next question, what are some practical steps businesses can take to start implementing total experience?
Yeah, and a lot of it depends on the maturity of the company. A lot of companies have a CX program now.
Okay.
A lot of companies, not as many, have an employee experience or an employee measurement program.
Okay.
But they operate in silos. And what you need to do is you need to start, in my presentation, I said it starts with building a team. And you need to have senior leadership that approves of this, pays for it, and says this is a priority. You need someone that can talk to that senior leadership, and then you need the people that can execute on it. So, when I talk about customer experience, one of the things I mentioned in my presentation is you cannot have a total experience transformation by hiring one person. It just doesn't work like that. You need a team of people working together, and that includes everyone all the way at the top, and every frontline employee needs to be a part of that contribution. And if you start bringing those people together and talking about the problems, then you're able to understand from all the perspectives. You can talk about an employee who says, hey, we have problems with the customers complaining that we don't have the product. And then a distribution manager can say, yeah, we've had problems with distribution of that product. And then you can get a CEO that can get on the line and call the manufacturer and say, give me the product or we're going to go to someone else. And so you can start having those conversations because you've talked to everyone that's involved with it. So I always say the first practical step is to build a team that's empowered and wants to fix things.
Wow, that's really insightful. And if a company could do just one thing today to improve total experience, what would you recommend?
Well, that's a tough one. I would probably, there's a lot of different variations, but I would probably say start with one journey map or start with one measurement. I mean, take that first step. You know, one of the conversations we have about exercise and being fit and all that, you have to take that first step.
Yeah.
You have to exercise that first day.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, then it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, that's right. And thank you so much. It was a really, really interesting conversation, and I think that you were saying is it's really important for the companies.
My pleasure. Thank you.